Mark, did this news this morning catch you by surprise at all, or is it something you thought?
Yeah. No, I didn't see it coming. Pardon me?
Is it something you thought might be coming?
Not at all. Not at all. And to be upfront with you, news came to me yesterday. So it was, it caught me off guard, yes.
I know it's happened and whatnot, but you've had a lot of issues with training camp this year. With the goaltending situation now, are you happy with the way things are set up with the uncertainty of Carey, or do you think you'll need to find another goalie?
Well, I think by picking up Samuel on waivers gives us today a safety valve that I'm glad we did, because otherwise I think it's other teams would have seen the need, and like I don't think anybody's moving goaltenders to replace Carey Price, but we feel with Jake, which he's done a tremendous job last year, and Sam and still Caden at camps, to have at least for now until he's back. I think I feel comfortable to be able to start a season with these guys on our roster.
Mark, would you just speak to the courage that both Carey and before him Jonathan displayed in, first of all, seeking the help to deal with what's troubling them, but also by extension making it public, which is going to help a lot of people in the process.
Yes, I think to the elephant in the room, sometimes we don't say anything, and it's very personal, but I salute and I'm glad they did. And if there's other players in the NHL who have different issues, whatever that is, I think the NHL and the HLPA are really looking at the well-being of their players, and I commend them to do that. I think every general manager is very sensitive to that, and we are here in Montreal. And for Joe and Carey and his family, he's got kids, 3 kids, and his wife. So I think we need to support them. We need to respect their privacy and wish him the best. And like I told Martin earlier on, I believe better days are ahead for Carey and his family.
First, just a technical question. When you mentioned the 30 days, is that the minimum that you have to go into the program for, or is that basic?
I believe it's the minimum you go in, and from what I was told, it's most likely be that, but it's not certain. It could be more.
Just to follow up on what John asked, you played in the league a while ago. I think there's a long-standing history in the NHL of playing through pain, playing through whatever you have to play through to get on the ice and play. Having lived that yourself, how do you view this, which I would say is an improvement in terms of players being able to ask for help and being able to say that I can't perform right now and I need to get something settled? How have you seen that evolution being in the game from this time?
It was always there, but I think now guys are more willing. There's not a stigmas like, oh, now back then maybe you would have seen as being weak, which was wrong, but it was probably the way we were built, and now it's more in the open, and I think it's going to be better for everybody. Again, it's not only hockey. I think it's all major sports, but I honestly believe too, it's in all walk of life. You just mentioned the pandemic. A lot of people went through different issues. It's been hard on a lot of people, and not because you're an athlete. I'm sure some other people find very hard. So if that's the case, I encourage people to come out, whatever it causes the issues that you do have.
Earlier you mentioned, I think you were referring to social media when you said, Mr. Everyone can voice an opinion and it gets to the players. Have you as an organization looked at how you can manage that? I know it's difficult because players today, young people today in general, that's how they communicate, that's where they live. But by the same token, you expose yourself to all sorts of things. Have you given any thought to, and if you haven't, you plan on doing that?
Well, it's a catch-22 because you want to promote the players. Players like to promote themselves. That's players take their own, they they have their own media outlet that we can't, I don't think it's right to me having the players and managing so they like, it's across the league and it's all sport. They manage their own. And sometimes when things don't go right, they get, so, we try to, Paul get involved and we educate our players, but until you have access, which we shouldn't be that way, they make their own decision, but we do, and Paul and his staff have, different conversation about those, those situations.
Eric Nichols? Mark, you said to think about Carey Price today, which I think we all are. I'm just, if you could just describe what Carey Price, the human, means to you and your relationship over the last 9 years and how you're dealing with this news, knowing that he's going through something that's.
It's been Yeah, no, it's hard.
Second question is this, Mark. Knowing what the athletes are going through, going back to your time, going to now, what resources are available to these players in the organization? And has it come a time where, I know you can't force help upon people, right? They have to be willing to get it for themselves, but do you think it's important to maybe have someone around, not just a sports psychologist, but someone on the mental side that would encourage players to say, you know what, I should be seeing this person regularly?
Yes, the NHL, and everything is done with the NHLPA. They do talk, they come in, they already came this year. But Eric, you made a great point, and that's the key to all of it, is that the player has to be willing to admit. And now that not only Carey, now Joe did it, and I'm sure other players did it, I think that helps, knowing that the NHL is supporting these players and their families. And I trust me, I hope nobody ever comes out because there's no more issues. But there probably will be. And I think every general manager, every ownership wants guys to come out if they need help, seek it and move on and have a life, because your hockey career lasts so many years, but you have the rest of your life, your kids, your family. That's the most important thing. And by players coming out, I think, and the NHL keep going, because again, they remember, Paul, they came out too long ago. They talk about that. And, they know we have people around, but if I ask you, do you have any issue and you don't want to face it, you don't want to admit it, there's nothing we could do.
Mark, I just wanted to ask you about leadership without Weber and without Carey Price now for at least a while. And after what was such a tough grind leading into the playoffs, and you went all the way to the final, are you concerned at all? Do you believe you have enough leadership in that room to help get guys to start the season the right way?
Yeah, I do. I do. I think we have a good group. I think, like I mentioned, with Webby being here for 5 years, I think he left a legacy among his teammates. How to be a good pro, how to put his team ahead of anything else. And Carey will be back, I believe. And then we have guys that been through the grind already. So, yeah, we do have leadership in this group, and I think they'll rise to the occasion one more time.
Does it concern you at all, just the fact? I think historically teams that get to the final and go through that grind, then it can be a tough start for them the next year, especially after a short layoff. Does that concern you at all?
Well, it happened. It happens in the past. It does happen a lot. I mean, we'll manage it and see. I mean, I hope not, and we'll do anything our best not to happen. But it was a short season. That's a fact. But I think we had a good camp. Guys are focused, and we have one more game tonight, and we'll be ready for. I think it's in Toronto on Wednesday, right? So That's our focus.
On va prendre une dernière question. On va aller avec Pierre, en ligne, es-tu là? Pierre Lebrun.
Hello, oui. Marc, je sais que tu en as parlé en français avec Martin, mais je peux demander en anglais, s'il vous plaît. Obviously, there's no bigger story than Carey's well-being today, but there's also some big news regarding yourself and the announcement that you're shelving talks on your situation until after the season. How disappointed are you that you didn't get an extension this offseason, and where do you feel it puts your future with the team now?
Well, like you mentioned, Pierre, the biggest story is Carey Price's health, and that's what my focus on is right now. The rest, it's business as usual. I'm looking at I know you're not there. It's business as usual. It is what it is. We're like I said, I do my job the best I can, and I always did, and nothing changes. So there's no distraction here. We're just we're getting ready, and like I said, the Carey story is something that on the personal side, I think it should all not affect us, but make us realize that these young kids these young players all have they're human beings. So regardless of the compensation you get at the end of the year, you have a family, and that's irrelevant. So he gets all the support, and hopefully we'll have him back soon.